And 3, 2, 1. Richard.
Vanessa.
What's up? There's this ice cream brand called Three Twins that during quarantine, Mom and I had like a bunch. I mean, I've been a fan for like 3 years. We were trying to find it in quarantine in the place that we normally find it at, and like nothing. And then we realized that in April he couldn't. He closed the company. He couldn't do it anymore. He was like, "I'm sorry, I don't have the funds. The coronavirus hit us hard, whatever." And Mom and I were like so sad because it's like thinking about you'll never taste something again, and that really messed me up like real bad about never being able to like taste something. And then I was like, wait, actually, there's a lot of things that I will never be able to taste again. Like people who have passed that have made me like really good food that I'll never be able to taste again. And I wonder your takes on it.
Well, what were they called? Three what?
Three Twins ice cream. Three Twins. So I guess they're triplets. I actually never did the research. I thought it was a cute name.
But if you think
it's like 2 men, 1 woman, it's like, you know, I guess they're triplets with like.
Are they that much better than everything you've ever eaten?
Dude.
To answer your question, in theory, yeah, you won't be tasting that exact, like, you know, the person who made it, the exact formula made it, the factory they made it in. But you'll be able to taste ice cream again. It's not like you'll never be able to taste ice cream.
For sure. Again. It's a stupid, like.
Sam, that's not what she was saying at all.
But I'm talking about how your brain reacts to things. Right? Your brain's not going to know that much of a difference between like this guy's ice cream and that guy's ice cream.
I just know for sure it's discontinued, and I know I'm gonna miss it, and I'm gonna have to go reel back in my memory bank to like even like think of how that was like. Like they had one made of cardamom, which is like a spice, which is like what the hell, so dank. But then also that got me thinking about like, oh, for example, like my step grandma's like cook make this amazing steak and this amazing vinaigrette, and like I'm never gonna eat that again. Yeah. And I haven't in a while, and I was like, damn, like I haven't had that in a while, you know. And it was so, I still remember like the place setting and the table and everything. And I don't know if you guys have like a meal that's like that to you that you're just like.
Yeah, I do have one.
Yeah,
you go first, Richard.
But through Sam's logic, you know, you missing out on your step grandma's thing is kind of the same. Just eat a steak, and it could be like anything else, right, Sam?
Well, no. I'm trying. My purpose in saying that was to dissuade her anxiety about that, not about like it's not special, well, it's not this, it's not that.
Yeah. No, I know. I mean, I love, as I said, Ben and Jerry's chocolate fudge brownie, like amazing. Right. Go buy it.
Right. Is this a Ben and Jerry's ad? What is this?
No, but it's just really good.
Okay. Well, I will say I do have a similar thing. My grandma on my dad's side passed away long before I was born, and my grandfather remarried even before I was born. So that grandma was like my grandma. I didn't even really realize she wasn't my blood grandma until I was like 10 years old. And she used to make this Jewish brisket with bow tie pasta. It was like her only, like I've never seen it on a menu. I've never seen, you know, like she had this weird combination. Good. It was really good. And
I'm picturing it, even though I've never seen it.
And they actually divorced like when I was like maybe like 18, 19, around that age. And I haven't seen her since they divorced. So I don't even know if she's still, it's very weird. Like this is kind of deeper than I thought it was going to be. I don't even know if she's still alive or anything. So I do feel that it's like, wow, I've never had that since. And I don't know if I'll ever have it again. And I don't know what her recipe was. You know, I couldn't really make it. But also I don't feel anxiety about it because it feels like that was a chapter in my life. It was beautiful. I can always look back at it with nostalgia, and it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sounds nice.
That's really nice.
I feel like I haven't had a really good meal in a long time since like basically like the quarantine hit.
Like a home cooked, like really.
I've had a couple home cooked meals that are good. I don't know. I've been watching a lot of like Anthony Bourdain's first ever TV show, which is called A Cook's Tour. It was like his first ever gig. And I found myself watching it and him being like, God, this is so good. And like me being like, what does good food taste like? Can't even remember. Maybe because I just like eat, because like I'm eating a lot of the same stuff too because of the quarantine, like the stuff that's easy to get or easy to cook.
Hold on, what's that bald dude's name that was on the cooking show?
Andrew Zimmern.
Oh, I hate that dude.
What?
Dude, he would eat something and immediately, delicious. Like he would always go. Mm. I think one time he actually ate like a eye that was like in shit or something, and he ate it, and then he was just like, this is not great, but and I was like, what do you? Then don't say
Well,
it's not that good.
His whole shtick was bizarre foods.
I'm one of those people who, like, in my office, like, we would always have once a month, like, we'd go to Whole Foods and get, like, that hot bar that's, you know, the salads, like, the lasagna, it's always there. And we'd have, like, people over from the UN, from the OAS, like, or, you know, like, nonprofits. And I'd be like, I'm one of those people who, in front of all these important people, I'm like, and it's like, Jessica, can you sound like very verbal when something's really good? I'm like, and I eat really fast too if something's really good, which I try to teach myself to, like, chew your food, like, enjoy it, like, it's not a race, like, but I was taught with, like, finish everything in your plate even if you're not hungry. But I'm definitely vocal, and I did that happen once and I was in the head of the table, so it was awkward because everyone turned to me and I was like, oh, this is really fucking good. Like, so I see what, you know, maybe no one told him. But
no, man, that was like his 17th season. Like he should know. He should know by then.
Mm-hmm.
What's the last meal that you had that was like great? That was like a great meal.
I have some really good meals that I make myself, and I really crave them sometimes, and, you know, and then
nice. People are trying to make fun of me for because I watch mukbang videos. Like people eat.
There are people eat.
Yeah, they eat like, this is my last burger. Like I will never have a chicken sandwich again. And they just like, oh.
Yeah, but they do that for clickbait. Like they're not doing it out of the joy of food.
When they do it, it makes me happy.
All right,
and I get so much joy from them. They'll take a bite out of something and it'll go on their mouth.
Like honey. Like,
oh
like,
man,
I like satisfying videos, like of like people like the
oh
satisfying videos.
Yeah.
I like that shit. I don't even know how to describe it. Like people
what?
like I don't even know, like
people like cutting things perfectly, or like they'll like. There's one that I saw like
like power washing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I like those too, but I don't like to go to sleep to those. Those I just like to watch like randomly if it shows up on my Tumblr. I'm like, oh cool, like yeah.
Did you hear? Is it? Do you believe that when you have a dream about somebody, it's because they thought about you that day? I heard that.
I like dreams. I dream every night. I actually dream like 4 dreams every night. A lot of people don't dream.
You remember?
Yes, when I wake up. Some dreams I've only had one recurring dream where I finally actually, like, I had it for like 5 years and I finally finished it, if that makes sense. Like it would always
yeah.
And it was and I never dreamt it again. And it wasn't anything.
That was probably
like,
so
weird.
Peaceful.
Yeah.
You probably woke up and
Yeah, and you know how like they say that like you supposedly don't dream of people whose face you've never seen before, so you always dream of someone whose face you've seen even in the background.
Yeah.
The guy, it starts with someone chasing me who I don't know, and it was ever since I went to the US for the first time. My sister had like what's the thing on wine? Cork, right? The cork. It's like a cork board. And she, typical like high school girl room, like a bunch of pictures of people with like thumbtacks and whatever. And he was in it, and he was the person who was chasing me. I've never met this man. I don't know his name. I'm sure she knows his name. She could tell me. And that was how the dream started. He was chasing me in the street uphill in Venezuela. And it would never end. And it wasn't threatening. It was just like chasing me. And then finally, like 3 years ago, the whole sequence of the dream ended. The first sequence was like the chasing, and then the second one was like the chasing plus me hiding behind a car. Then it'd be me all that hiding behind the car, and then reaching a house, and then it was my mom's best friend's house, but I could like climb the walls to it. And then there was like a school, and then they were like looking for me, and it was in the middle of the night, the whole thing. And then I solved the problem.
Oh, I like this.
Yeah, and it was just like great, and I never dreamt about it again.
Doesn't everybody dream that people just don't remember what they dreamt?
Exactly. Yeah, probably.
I was gonna say I had a long period of my life where very often I didn't remember my dreams. But you did dream, but you just didn't remember it. I don't know. It's hard to remember.
Like when you woke up, you were like you did dream? You didn't just fall
But
asleep.
see-
You didn't just like close your eyes and
I
wake
don't
up?
know. I also feel like sometimes I did wake up and be like, did I dream last night? I don't think so. But you know,
it's
again,
hard to
I don't
remember
know.
that if
Scary.
you remember to dream. Like it's really hard. Like not for me, but like for other. Like I've asked people like, oh, like what, and they're like, oh, I don't know, and I'm like, oh, I try to do this too. Like I should have a dream journal next to my nightstand and wake up and write it down.
And also I don't have reoccurring dreams, but I have thematically reoccurring dreams. Like the most thematically reoccurring dream I've been having lately is like I'm really trying to stop somebody, like somebody bad, from doing something or from getting out of a place, but I just can't get rid of them. Like no matter what I do, I don't want to kill them. Like, but I want to like get them either out of the situation or away, or like there's different stuff. Like I'll push them, I'll punch them, I'll kick them, but I'm like, I don't want to hurt you, but you have to get away from here. And they're bad people. Or like I'll yell at them, but like, you got to get out of here. But like I'll say like I'll punch them into the stratosphere and they'll like disappear for a second, but then like later in the dream they'll be back and I'll be like, what the fuck? And then I have to like fight them again and like punch them out of the stratosphere. I don't know. That's the recurring.
That sounds like what is it, Scott Pilgrim?
Yeah, it is sort of some of them
Great
are Scott
movie.
Pilgrim-y. Well, one specifically I had not last night, but the night before that was I was at this campsite with a bunch of people, and I don't know what we were doing there, but we wanted to get like a speaker to come and like talk to our campsite, and we're all waiting to see who the speaker is, and it ends up being Donald Trump. So like I get in front of him in the podium, I'm like screaming like "fuck you!" like "get the fuck out of here!" like "boo!" and everybody's booing him, and I'm like get out, leave! But he like won't leave. He's still like making his speech, and this guy comes up to argue with me, and he's like, "No, he can't leave. He can't leave." And this is like the weird dream thing. It's like there was an IHOP there suddenly, and it's like he's sponsored by IHOP. IHOP needs him here. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, what the fuck? That makes no sense. And eventually, I get rid of him, and like we camp a couple more nights. But then, like 2 nights later, he's back and he's doing the same speech, and I'm in front, like, get the fuck out of here! Get out of here! Are you scared of the ocean, Richard? Like, if we went to the beach, would you get in?
Yeah. But,
You're like, I wonder
Testify.
why.
Come up in the spot, looking extra fly.
okay. Oh, speaking of, Sam, what you think about J. Cole's new song?
I haven't heard No Name's response yet. I'd be interested in hearing that. But
It's short.
just on a musical level, I thought it was fire. Like he had bars. I mean,
Yeah,
and
bars.
the instrumental was cool, and just on a musical level, I thought it was awesome. I don't know how to feel about it politically or socially. I just will like point to the fact that it seems like a lot of famous people just get jaded when they get famous a little bit. Like I feel like if J. Cole was not famous, he would be educated on all that's happening. And because he's so famous, like he's not. Like you saw like the thing when Black Lives Matter first came out, Lil Wayne was in an interview, and the interviewer asked her like, "What do you think of Black Lives Matter?" And he was like, "What's that?" She's like, "It's like international news. You know what Black Lives Matter is?" He's like, "No." And like people are saying when Lil Wayne did that, he was trolling or that, you know, this or that, like behind it. But I think it just proves that, and it's not just rappers. I mean, I think it's any famous person. I think you just get jaded. And I don't think there's any problem with calling out famous people for being jaded. Really.
That's true. But
So,
I don't think, do you think J. Cole was jaded? Or is
for him to
jaded?
be like, I don't know what's happening. It's like, bro, the whole world knows what's happening right now.
Yeah, and he like marched. I mean, I haven't heard it, but
I mean,
it's
he didn't say I don't know what's happening. He was just saying he didn't know how to. He said I'm not gonna be a leader of. I'm not gonna be someone.
himself. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna be the one that
of,
people are gonna be following because I don't know enough. I don't know enough to lead. You know,
That's
so
fair.
you lead. That's how he was saying it. But people were like, well, why won't you, acknowledge something like that?
I think that's fair.
It came out in a way that I was like, oh, okay.
I think that's fair. Like, I think it's fair. There's like 50 sides to this coin. You know what I mean? It's like on one minute you're like, that's fair. On the other side, you're like, well, as like a famous African-American male who a lot of other African-American males look up to, maybe he has a certain responsibility. On the other hand, his goal was to be a rapper, not a political figure. You know, there's just, I don't know. I feel like you can argue in circles for like 20 days. And also sometimes when celebrities talk, like with like, there was that.
Oh, like with fucking Gal Gadot, like
with like Gal Gadot, and like you're just like, ugh, you're just like,
I didn't see the one about like I'm so sorry about my white privilege. I didn't see. I was like,
wait, who said this?
no.
Who was it?
Yeah.
Who said this?
There was like a new video.
It was a
with,
PSA.
like, it was like a PSA with like all
It
these
was
celebrities.
so cringe. It was so cringy.
I knew it was in poor taste. So I was like, I don't even want to see. I just scrolled it, and it was like started playing by itself. You know how like the like Twitter and like the news work where just the video just starts playing, and I was like, no, I don't have time for this. I'm trying to retweet and like retweet things that are important.
Yeah, you're not gonna catch me
great.
in this.
Like maybe like an Elsa, like 13-year-old Elsa follower will be like, oh my god, like Kristen, whatever her name is, like.
It was
Bell,
so.
like,
I didn't finish it. But I saw enough to tell you it's so cringy.
It's not.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like there's got to be a balance. Like sometimes celebrities, we don't need to hear from them. Like we already have an issue in this country of like over worshiping celebrities. Like Chappelle said, like right now the streets are talking, and we don't really need celebrities to say.
Very true.
I did like how you said that, which is true. It's like we do need them for like because we know they tell the truth in a way. So like yes, Gal Gadot, bitch, stay home. You're Israeli, like whatever. Like you have no context here in like whatever.
Well, she did it for COVID, I think. They were doing that.
Yeah, she did it for COVID, but it was also like you were in the Israeli army. Like don't get
wasn't
into
that like the music one? Like they're all
the Imagine by John Lennon and stuff. And then like
it was horrible.
And it was just like all her past came to show, and it was like just do Wonder Woman, which you were great at, and you look great doing. Like just stick to that. And then like the one like the white peel one, and it was just like okay, good for your followers who are also like maybe. But then also like I did like how Dave Chappelle said that like we do like to listen, for example, to him. He is a great example. He doesn't give a fuck, like he's over it. Of like when he was like you want to hear from me because I'm not gonna lie to you. And it's like yeah, that's actually so true. And you have an equal amount of rage and an equal amount of hilarity. That's what we need to like not fucking blow our brains off. Like in a sense of like let's like The Onion. Like okay, like it's like I don't even know if you heard this. Like, The Onion did a whole article about Aunt Jemima. Like before the Aunt Jemima syrup, and they're like they're gonna replace Aunt Jemima with a black lawyer who likes to have pancakes on the side or something, and then it happened. It was like, yeah, we need these platforms of like just to take a breath and like be like we're not all crazy. Dave Chappelle had a YouTube video of like whatever million people watched it. Like
it was so good.
It was good.
8 minutes 46 seconds.
Yeah,
so good.
Yeah.
And he had like I think
J. Cole.
He had a good rage and a good good comedic release and a good amount of rage, and it was just like.
But Vanessa, how was No Name's response?
So I haven't listened to J. Cole's disclaimer. I only saw the Twitter like, who the fuck does he think he is? Like, why is he complaining about it? All that stuff. Which I was like, true, I guess. To some people, like this is not the time. Like you were in the protests, and then everyone was like, this should be your album cover. Don't like him in the protest, and it should be your album cover. Like don't go out this lady. But then he did say like, oh, go follow her, which I was like, okay, cool. And he was like amicably like, we disagree, but like much love, much respect. Go follow this lady. So then I did. I don't follow him, but I followed her. And then it came out.
Point.
Yeah, like I mean, it's not like he's ignoring his whole perspective, and he said like I stand by my thing, which is also very brave. I mean, you could fuck up because you're ignorant and be like, oh, JK, but he actually was like, well, I stand by my artistic perspective. As we said, he's not like MLK. He's not going to fix everything, but he's just putting out a song. Like he's trying to do what he knows what to do. Okay, he acknowledged it. Like whatever. I saw all the funny memes of like whatever, just a bunch of funny memes about like this is not your place. So I had a good time about that. But it was good. Her song was very short, too short. I would have liked it to be longer. And she did basically her things were just like, oh, these trans lives are dying. Like they're killing a woman, they're killing another one, one's missing, they're killing another one. And it's like, yeah, like let's focus our attention on like this issue, not like how you think you can be the martyr or not for this situation.
Wait, was their argument specifically about Black trans lives?
She mentioned like Black lives, and I'm not sure. I mean, she posted her lyrics, but I think that she mentioned a Black activist woman who was murdered, and I think she did. Actually, I don't know. I can't. Disclaimer, cannot say for sure.
Hold on, quick question.
Yeah.
J. Cole's song, was it in response to No Name's song?
No.
No Name responded to J. Cole.
No Name. I mean, J. Cole's song was in response to something No Name said.
Tweeted. Yeah. Didn't she
Yeah.
just tweet like, "Oh, your favorite hip hop artists are not even saying something like that"? But
Yeah.
okay, I thought you were saying. I thought you okay.
But she was talking about the movement in general, not just
Yeah.
Black trans lives, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In her tweet or in her song, Sam?
I think we should listen.
Song.
I think we should listen to the song and then come back. All right, so I'll say a couple things. One, yeah, she did mention trans lives, but she's definitely I mean, she added that. I think she's talking about the movement in generally. Second, musically, she also bodied that. That was a fucking great song.
Yeah, it's too short. I would like to
I don't
listen
think
to a whole other minute.
I don't think it really added anything new. She just kind of reiterated herself, but in a song.
But maybe J.
tweet.
Cole's didn't add anything new either. I don't know. I'm trying to play the devil's advocate.
Well, no, I'm
against
not saying. No, I'm not saying she's wrong in what she's saying. I'm just saying that she's just kind of reiterating what her overall stance is, which is, I think, a good stance. No, I'm not saying it's the wrong stance. I'm just saying I'm not sure if it added anything.
What is the song called again?
Song 33. Well, and she needed to respond because everybody was like up in flames about it. So she just like responded, which, I mean, whatever, and it's fire. And yeah, like I liked it. I didn't hear J. Cole's. To me, he always seemed kind of like very crybaby in a sense.
J. Cole's song,
but that's his artistic in general. Like that's just seems like his thing.
Don't say that. J. Cole
that's why I don't listen to him. Like I listened to him and like I tried to like get into him in like 2011 and I was like, meh.
J. Cole
is like a soft Drake. Like Drake is like more party and J. Cole's more like
listen,
woe is me.
J. Cole is a genius, okay? So don't talk.
Okay, Sam, but we can disagree. Sam, I'm just what I'm saying.
No, you can't disagree that he's a genius.
Are you serious right now?
Yeah.
The whole point is that
you can not like his music. You can not like his music, but you can't disagree that he's a genius.
Okay, what are you saying? People who are like, "Oh, Hitler was a genius." Like, obviously, people disagree, dude. Like, I don't like Kanye. I like his music. Like, it's okay. Complicated.
Finish what you're saying. Sorry for.
So, like, obviously, she needs to like respond.
Yeah, I agree.
No one's in the right. No one's in the wrong. Like, they just are saying what they feel.
Yeah. Of course.
And like they're entitled to that, and we're entitled to listen, and we're entitled to judge it and opinion.
Yeah.
Obviously, they know their art is going to be judged, But I liked hers, and I liked how she was just in her short minute and 30 seconds was like, the world is burning. Like, let's focus on bigger things, which was for the listeners. I don't think it was for J. Cole.
Trash.
What?
I think that was trash. I think she gets a little too excitable by other people's reactions to J. Cole. She seemed to have gassed herself up to think J. Cole said something.
But what about, do you think it's because you're saying that because she's a woman and maybe J. Cole always gasses himself up, in my opinion, because I'm a woman?
No. I don't think you heard what I just said. I don't think, maybe I didn't say it right. I was saying I think her listeners and what she's read on Twitter has gassed herself up thinking J. Cole said something that he didn't, because I'm looking at her lyrics right now, and especially at this time, it doesn't seem like this is necessary.
But J. Cole started it though, so maybe you can say that it wasn't necessary for him to call her out without a name. Literally, there was no point in which J. Cole's lyrics or something ever is comparable to him going, I guess the ego is hurt now. It's time to go to work. But look at him go. He's really writing about me when the world is in smoke. Like, but he was writing about her. So it's like,
yeah, but it's
that's
like,
what I'm saying. It's like what came first, the chicken or the egg?
No.
You're saying
no. But
okay.
Because this is
no. I'll let you finish.
Obviously, her going at him because he said something. What J. Cole was saying was, this is the movement that I'm speaking about, and this is how I think we should go. Or this is what I know about, and this he doesn't go at her in any way. This is directed at him in a way that it doesn't seem necessary.
He never said he didn't go at her. He just said like I support her, but he never said like, oh, by the way, this is about someone else. Time,
Noname never said that she goes at him, but it's kind of like when you see it, it's saying. She's saying, "Oh, you're in the studio writing about me," It's like, okay, well, you're obviously talking about.
That's what all Twitter thought. That's what I'm saying. It's like,
yeah,
if you
but it's
agree,
just like,
if you suspend reality and agree that this is a response to a response,
no, but this is not. But J. Cole's response is not to her. It's about the movement. Her response is directly to him.
But he spoke about a female. That's all I know from what I've seen of the excerpts of his lyric. He spoke about a female, and he doesn't name her. Okay, and he never denied that it was not Noname.
Here's how J. Cole rapped about it. He rapped about it in a situation where it was like, there's a woman that's talking on Twitter. There's a woman that's talking on Twitter, and this is what she says. This is how I feel from what she says, and this is what I know about it. I am not a leader in that way, so I'm not going to say something. But the way she knows how to say it is the way she knows how to say it. So go about the way you need to say to get to get the message out. Her response is not to what J. Cole is saying, but it's directly to him in a way that's like, oh, so you rapping about me? It's like, what? Not really. Like, yeah, he's rapping about you in a contextually, but like not really. Like, he's not saying anything that you're really saying. But it's like this becomes more of like a diss. Oh, let's go bar for bar, diss for diss. It's like, no, this is not really necessary. This is more cringy than you telling me about some white women going, oh, this is cringy to me. This
might be cringe. All right, you can be cringy to you, but bro, until you see that video, bro, it's the cringiest shit ever.
What is the name of J. Cole's song? Because I want to see the lyrics. Because I've heard that.
Snow on the Bluff.
Snow on the Bluff.
Snow on the Bluff lyrics.
I feel like I'm sort of in the middle between you two. Like, I don't really. I mean, you're right, Richard, but he is kind of talking about her, and
dude, yeah, he is. Like, yes, he is. But this becomes more of like, oh, so now if you're not, this became if you're not with. Her response was, if you're not with me directly.
Oh, interesting. Wait. Google's version of Snow on the Bluff doesn't show that part.
Which part?
What part?
The she, and then when you go and click on J. Cole, the Genius link, which is the first one after you, I think what stirred people up is like, she mad at celebrities, low key. I'd be thinking she thinks she talking about me, and it's like, you're not the you're not the center of the universe, which I think is what I'm saying is like, I think Richard, let me finish though. Like,
but he is though, because it's coming from his perspective.
Yeah, I know, and I'm saying I value that, but I'm saying it's like, obviously he started something and he mentioned her, so she has a complete right to react in whatever fucking way she wants. Like, the way that I respect J. Cole's. But why are you shaking your head? Then maybe you shouldn't put out the song. That's what I was saying about the chicken and the egg. If you don't want someone to come back at you and have a fire song, personally, that I think
90% of what you just said was correct. Yes.
And then like, well, no, it's not correct. It's your opinion of what I'm saying. I'm not saying my opinion is correct. It's an opinion. Like, everyone has opinions. So like, I'm saying that like, if he didn't want this, then don't fucking write that song. Don't call her out. Like, you're gonna have like a Tucci, Cardi B versus Beyonce versus like Cardi, Nicki Minaj. Like, that's childish. Yes, it sells records. There's more important, like the Amazon was burning. Who cares? But like, this is like, clearly he's calling her out, and she's not just gonna sit there and take it. Like, I wouldn't. Like, it's bullshit. Like,
I think I agree with Vanessa. I think she should respond, and it was good that she responded.
And like, you're not J. Cole's manager. Like, it's like, he knows what he's doing. And
I think now, I mean, especially the quote unquote rap battle beat between them. Now it's good.
That's what bothers me. That there's a quote unquote beef between them, where I don't think there should be, and I honestly don't even think there is. I think
I don't think there should be
saying her piece, but
he paints her mad. Like, she says, she mad at my N-words, she mad at our ignorance, she wear her hat on her sleeve, she mad at celebrities. Okay, I think she's thinking about me. She strike me as somebody, blessed. So it's like, you're telling the whole. J. Cole obviously has a way bigger platform than Norman. I didn't even know who the fuck she was. So then he's saying that like, she's putting her in a bad light, literally in like the first paragraph verse. And then he's like, well, but like, she has good intentions. And it's like, J. Cole, then don't come at her so hard. Like, or whatever, do whatever you want to do. But like, this is how I'm taking it, for example.
I guess this is the biggest question. Did you take what he said about her as rude?
Well, I haven't listened to the song, but
just off of the lyrics. Just off of the lyrics. Just like take a quick read and then tell, because I guess that's just what it is, because I'm saying what I read from the lyrics. I'm not thinking what he said was rude, because I took it without
He
any
is
context.
stating the facts. He's like, I scrolled through the timeline in these wild times, and I started to read. She's mad at these crackers. She's mad at these capitalists. She's mad at it.
Hold on. Let me finish.
Yeah.
Keep reading though. I'm just gonna say I took it with no context in which Noname was involved at all. Like I just took it like he's just talking hypothetically, like, oh, I saw something about just some random Twitter follower that he had saying this. So I took it in that.
That's true. I mean,
respect.
I guess that it's like, you know.
So if you take if I'm saying if there is actually no names in between in any of this.
Wait,
it makes.
I just read this. Fuck is the point of you preaching your message to those that already believe what you believe? And it's like, okay, so
Keep reading.
I'm on some fuck a retweet.
You don't have to read it out loud.
Sheep. You got all these. If I can make one more suggestion, what suggestion that you don't agree with? Her? Like, see, that seems condescending to me. No, I am reading. Like, it's like she doesn't need your suggestions. She's already doing what she's doing. I would say it's more effective to treat people like children, understanding the time and love, patience. Yeah, but like people are adults, so why is it her responsibility to
finish? You can't give me
all right
a statement after every sentence.
Well, I'm just saying. In a way, I'm doing a live reaction of what I'm experiencing.
Why don't you listen to this? Why don't you listen to the song and then come back and we'll finish this?
Yeah.
I've listened to J. Cole maybe way more than I've ever listened to Noname, but I have listened to Noname's. Like I've probably listened to probably 10 or 12 Noname songs.
Okay.
But I know J. Cole because I've listened to him a lot, and what I know that he does is that he'll rap about his life in a way that it's him, but he's almost like narrating it. So it is his life. It is what he's talking about, but he's narrating it from a perspective either of he's looking back on it, or he's just narrating it in a way that he's looking back on it, or that's not who he is now. He's changed from that person, but this is what he was at that moment, and he's verbalizing what he was at that moment, and that's what it seems like. So when I heard that song, he rapped about it in a way that was like, this is how I felt at that moment. Now I'm saying this is his initial gut reaction for when he first heard it.
And like I was just doing his way
like
of,
like a
live assessment.
Like a live reaction.
Yeah.
Like he's him live reacting to something.
No, I respect that.
But not from that point of view anymore. He's just narrating how he felt at that point.
Okay, let me ask you about this part. I totally understand what you're saying. Okay. Let me get this part. But it's something about the queen tone that's bothering me. And he doesn't say queens. He says queen, as in like her. A universal queen, which something about the queen tone that's bothering me. She struck me as somebody blessed enough to grow up in a conscious environment with parents that know about the struggle for liberation, and in turn they provide her with a perspective and awareness of the system and unfairness that afflicts them, and the clearest understanding of what we gotta do to get free. And the frustration that fills her words seem to come from the fact that most people don't see, just because you woke and I'm not, that shit ain't no reason to talk like you better than me.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's basically saying that that's what she's thinking as well, like, right? The frustration that fills her words seems to come from the fact that
he's
most
saying
people don't
that's how he saw it. Yes.
And that and like the reason for her words is like the frustration, people don't see things as she sees them.
Yeah.
But then she says, just because you woke and I'm not, that shit ain't no reason to talk like you better than me. How you gonna lead when you attacking the very same N-words that really do need the shit that you saying? So I don't know if that's at her. I think that I respect you, Richard. I just want you to know that I respect everyone's opinions, even when I disagree with them. And like I respect, and it's art. Like it is art. Like rapping and slam poetry, whatever. Like it's art, and we all assess it very differently. Like song lyric, even from people who are like not known to anybody. But I could see how, without knowing either of them very well, she could take this as like, okay, so now I got to square up with you. Like, there's a lot of more important things to do. Twitter's in a frenzy, which is what actually happened. So she's like, okay, now I got to answer this instead of, writing my literature that he doesn't want to read. So, like, she's like, I took 1 minute and 30 seconds out of my day to do this. And I don't know if he's going to acknowledge it, because in a way you don't really have to defend your lyrics unless you're like super in a bad taste. Like, he doesn't have to address.
I would be so surprised if they haven't talked yet. Like, I'm assuming that they've talked on the phone, and
he retweeted her song and everything. Like, dude, I'm sure they've talked. They've pictures of them together. Like, yeah,
they're both conscious artists. So
yeah. And if anything, this is making the conversation. But see, this is what I don't like. It's like, why are we pitting them against each other when they're both on the same thing in a different way? And that's what's frustrating to me about it too. And that's why I guess I'm trying to explain to you that I'm like, why did he have to say something if he knew it was going to push a button or he didn't know, and then didn't, and then was like, oh well, it's not about her. But it's like, okay, well then J. Cole, explain yourself, because we really don't need to be distracted about this right now. Like,
that's true.
yes, dope song
That's
to some
true.
people, but like,
that's very true.
maybe just donate money. Maybe just make it.
Maybe he just didn't need to. He absolutely did not need to make this song.
Yeah, and that's what she was saying, which again, maybe a little shady in her part. She was like, "Oh, you just want to go and like record or whatever the lyric was," and it's like, well, he isn't. That's his living. I mean,
that's what he does.
But also, like, was it necessary?
It's almost like comes back to the Fox thing. Like, yeah, you're only putting out news on Fox News that you know your listeners are gonna agree with. You know?
Yeah, and other people want to, like me, I want to listen to them just to know what train they're riding.
Yeah, like sometimes you just kind of you gotta get you gotta spread out. That's how I took it. So when I heard that, I was like,
but it is aggressive. It does say fuck is the point, and then he does attack, supposedly, if allegedly, this black woman. And there is this whole thing I've noticed in black culture in America of like black men not respecting black women. And I just heard this Frederick Douglass podcast earlier too, where like the whole slavery thing was like, it was about black men and not black women. So it is like very touchy, and I don't think he's ignorant of it. And if you say fuck, it's like he didn't really need to say fuck, maybe for the lyric part of it, but like then again, reread your lyric before you publish it, and so you don't come out as aggressive of like, what the fuck is your point? Like, plant a seed. And she's like, I'm not trying to plant seeds. I'm trying to like burn the whole fucking forest. And of the white people, and like.
You want me to go?
What are your thoughts on this?
I don't have a lot to say. I just was waiting because I thought my thoughts could kind of wrap it up.
White privilege.
You got me. You got me. I didn't mean wrap up. I meant like wrap up the thought. I meant wrap up the thought, not like wrap up.
Yeah. I mean, you were like.
You could keep talking about it. You could keep talking about it afterwards. I'm not saying wrap up the whole conversation. Just like wrap the thought. I was just gonna say. I mean, I also. Honestly, I didn't say anything because I feel like I kind of fall in the middle, and you guys were going back and forth, so I wasn't going to add anything by falling in the middle of the debate. You know what I mean? Like in terms of, yeah. But I don't know. I think both of their songs are good. Both of their songs are valid, and I think, when you hear people say like, "I'm glad I just added," I added to the discussion. I added to the debate. Mm-hmm. And usually it's like a white guy like Mark Wahlberg who said the N-word 40 years ago. And he's like,
that guy.
I'm glad I could add to the conversation. In that case, it's like, shut the fuck up, bro. Shut the fuck up.
Who, like,
you know what I mean?
Killed like a Chinese man or something.
Yeah, it's like, well, I'm glad. Yeah, or like one time Matt Damon like said something weird about sexual assault. And then he's like, well, I'm glad I could, it sparked a debate. It's like, shut the fuck up, bro. But it's like, and this to me feels like the perfect example of a scenario where I'm like, all right, I'm glad it sparked a debate, because it's like, I don't think either one of them is wrong. I don't think either one of them is right. Like both of them are valid. And like the fact that they both put themselves out there, like now they're both part of the discussion. Now they're both part of the debate, and like we can move from there. You know what I mean? And I'm not seeing it as like, well, J. Cole was right and she was wrong, or Noname was right and he was wrong. I see it as like, they're both valid. They both entered their thoughts into the debate. And
yeah, that's true.
That can help us move forward.
Because it is important to know their thoughts, regardless of if we agree or not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And like I said, it's different than when a white guy does something racist or sexist. And it's like, well, I'm glad I sparked a debate.
What were you going to say? The only thing, what?
Oh, I was like, the only thing I'll say to defend J. Cole, because, and I don't know Noname as well as J. Cole, so that's probably why I'm doing this. So
they're a lot more similar than you think.
Well, I'm just saying I have a bias a little bit towards J. Cole because I'm like a big fan of his. But I will say that like, and again, I do agree with Vanessa that like she wasn't necessarily talking about him, and then he was pretty, not maybe point blank talking about her, but he was talking about her. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Of course, yeah. But I will say that like J. Cole doesn't do things explicitly. Like he does things through his art, and I think in terms of Black America, he's probably one of the most influential, like, artistic figures. So the fact that, like, she's kind of calling out J. Cole, I mean, she's definitely calling him out in the response, but that's because he called her out. But I'm saying to say that J. Cole is like ignorant or like not doing anything, I think is a little bit is just not quite the reality of the situation.
No, I mean, he was out there like protesting and shit.
Right. And like he might not like post on Twitter a bunch or post on Instagram a bunch, but like the shit he's done through his art, I think has been super impactful. So yeah, that's what I have to say. My overall point is both of them are valid. Both of them have been entered into the debate, and that's
Do you agree that in a way it's like, yes, they're valid? Actually, now I'll check myself. Like, as artists, should we look on them and see their work as artists, even if it's like quote unquote beef with each other, going back and forth?
Yeah, I
do you think
so.
That's a distraction, or do you think that's like, guys, come on, like just make up, let's focus on something else? Or is that actually relevant? Like, is their beef relevant and important in the long run? Maybe.
I see what Richard's saying when he's saying it's a little bit cringy, but my reaction is actually, I think it's kind of cool in a way, because like it's been added to like a historical time, a historical debate.
How harmful is a distraction in art? Because we don't need, it's not that we don't need art, we need art, but we don't need beef art. We need like togetherness art versus like politics, which we do need politics. We need movements, we need protests, we need, in my opinion, we need activism, we need, money funded to the NGOs that help like kids not be in cages and like, protesters be free.
I don't think so, because one, I don't think so for a couple of reasons. One, because art is art is art is art. Like, it doesn't matter if it's art in the form of a beef or art in the form of like you just had a breakup and that's how you express yourself. Like, art is a form of expression. So I don't think you categorizing it as a beef makes it invalid, because all art you could categorize as a direct result of something tangible or emotional that happened in life, right? And I don't think it's a distraction or anything like that, because I think it's important to have debates like this, and it's important to have both like J. Cole's and Noname's perspective. No matter if you agree with J. Cole or Noname, I think it's important to have this debate, and it's not a distraction because this debate needed to be had. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, in a way, it's like it was going to happen anyway. So why not?
Right, exactly.
People who are like woke from their arenas, from their own corners. I guess. Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, I'm down with being proven wrong.
I'm not trying to prove anybody wrong. I'm just saying.
I mean, I like to. I'm just joking, but I mean, like, I like to learn and like be like see what else could arise from this or
yeah. But that's just my perspective on the situation.
No, but I want to talk about, so do you know how my sister works with Becky G? She's Latin. And she did this interview on Instagram, which we'll link below, where she kind of calls out like Latin artists a little bit, because there is a lot of racism in South America. And it's very weird because when I was growing up, I never like thought about race. Like, I was called, like in Latin America, like negra is a term of endearment. That's like when you're close to someone. It literally means black, but it's not like racist. It's just like, literally it's being called sweetie. And I was called café con leche, which is coffee with milk. It's very like culturally. Then I came to the US and I was like, oh my God, like racism. Like, American racism is very overt and subtle at the same time. It's very like.
Yeah, it's weird.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it. It's very subtle, but it's very in the open, and everyone just doesn't talk about it. And I didn't know what racism was when I moved here, because also like you have Brazil, where it's like you see the whitest of the whites and the blackest of the blacks, and and then in Venezuela as well. Like, it's just like mulatto, quote unquote, which is
but they're racist. They're racist as hell in Brazil.
Yeah, for sure, because they actually had one of the longest slave trades in the entire North American continent. They were the latest people.
And they're still very outwardly racist against black people.
Yeah, unless you're rich, and then it's like, and like Dominican Republic, like Sammy Sosa made it. Obviously, there's channels to.
But Sammy Sosa bleached his skin.
Exactly, that's what I was gonna say. Like, there's ways to like be cool, and like, oh, he's just a great baseball player. Like, here, it's like, oh, he plays great NFL, and then it's like, but then he ends up bleaching himself because he believes that. Oh, like a subtle thing. And so Becky G kind of like called out. It was like, there's not a lot of Latin artists. Like Ricky Martin today, I saw on Twitter, he was like promoting his album. And I'm like, dude, this is not the time. Like, I don't know. It was just weird. And I haven't seen actually a lot of Spanish artists like talk about it. And we all know this, like we all use this as a term of endearment. Like we all know, and like J-Lo made it in the US, and Shakira has made it in the US, and like all these people want to make it in the US, and they know these things. Like it doesn't take you more than like a month of like just Googling and shit to like figure it out, you know what I mean? And they haven't really talked about it, and it's been kind of disappointing because like brown or black, the police doesn't care. Like you're just not white, you know what I mean? Like I very much like I realized in middle school, which is fucked up because it's middle school. Oh, if I'm not white, I'm not the same. Like I'm dark. Like clearly my name is super Latin. My last name people can't pronounce. Like I just talked to SunTrust today about my social security ID because it was wrong. And they're like, Miss Puerto, like she couldn't even say Puerto, you know, and I was like, just call me Vanessa. Like, you know, everything is just like an effort to them. And I was like, oh, clearly, like if you're not this, you know, and so I was very proud of her for saying, I don't know, Danielle was gonna, I'm not like a huge fan of Becky G's music. I wouldn't have it like downloaded on my playlist, but like
that's the first thing when I edit this. That's the first thing I'm gonna put up.
That's fine. I don't care. Like
Vanessa Puertas' opinion on Becky G.
She's got some bops. Like I love Booty. You know, I like the show's some really good songs, but like, you know, she's not like someone I would just be like, oh, let me listen to this. Yeah, and then I went to Barcelona like for the second time because I'm privileged enough to go. And my friend, who's Venezuelan, was like, oh yeah, like let's go to the Paki, like Pakistan. And I was like,
yeah.
And I told her, I was like, I'm not gonna shout her out, but I'm gonna send her this link.
Yeah.
And I was like, why do you call him that? And she was like, oh, because they're all run by Pakis. And I was like, well, is he Pakistani? She's like, shit, I don't know. And I was like, okay, well, that's weird because I would never in the US, even though it's, and, you know, because when you say Paki, you obviously, I mean, it's derogatory. So I was just like, you know.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Like,
it is derogatory.
Yeah,
right?
it's derogatory by itself without having to say, like, Paki, poor, dirty person. It's like, oh, obviously, like, the Pakis.
And I was thinking, like, I feel pretty conscious of my race a lot of the times. Yeah, I don't wake up and be like, I'm white, but like in social situations,
let me check my credit score.
Right. But like if I walk into a bar or something, or I walk into a club, or I'm usually like, all right, what's my race? What's the race of the people here? How do I react? How do I dance? Like it actually does affect how I act sometimes.
You're socially aware, of course, yeah.
But I'm asking you because he was so like, I never think about it. And I'm like,
and I think that's a cop out because of course he has, and he I think he even said later or the podcast earlier where the woman that was singing that, what was the song?
The ninja song.
Ninja. He was like.
You can't even sing it because it's so racist.
Yeah, it's, oh my god.
I think I could sing it.
He's so nice. She's so nice. But then later he was like, I can't believe I didn't say anything. Like, bro, come on, man. I just don't think I don't think he has the. This is me more attacking him because when I watched it, I felt grossed out that he didn't say anything.
But so you're saying you also feel that way, like. Not you don't wake up and think I'm black, but like when you're in certain social, okay, good. I
am socially aware,
right,
of who I am compared to everyone else,
right.
Whether that be my race, my ethnicity, my gender,
age.
my age. I know who I am comparatively to everyone else.
Yeah,
and I try to maneuver, you know.
Yeah, I thought that's what everybody did. And like you said, it's not just about race, it's about gender, age.
That's interesting because the first thing I look at is gender. Because I feel, and I'm like, okay, because obviously like abuse, like whatever, like predator, like, okay, you're stronger, whatever. Like, I guess my thing is I'm like, I'm more like, the first thing I'm like, okay, I could, even if it's like a super white girl from Ohio, I'm like, I can tell this bitch like, hey, can you pretend that like you're my friend? I know that. I know that like it's, and she would have, even if she's like racist shit, she would probably understand. This is all scenario. It's never happened. But like,
this is very true.
I think we could bond over that like thing first and foremost. Like the first thing I look at is my gender.
It depends the scenario I'm going into. Like if I'm going into a club or bar, like I want to say age usually, but usually I feel like I know the age going in ahead of time. Like if I'm going to a bar or club, I know it's going to be people probably my age. You know, if I'm going to like a family event, I know I'm probably going to be one of the youngest people there. So I feel like I think about age first, but I know age usually ahead of time. Like you can assume age first.
So you feel more. I think it's just a comfortability factor. You like.
Yeah, I act very differently around like I act very differently around like older people. Well, I am glad that you guys. I was very weirded out by Bobby Lee saying that. Like, I don't ever think about that. I was like, what? Doesn't everybody? And like, you're like, yes, everybody does. So I'm like, okay, good.
Everybody does.
Yeah.
Everybody,
All right, good.
everybody does.